In MCQ number 2, we're looking at a very common question that is found in lots of our 10-year series question. So here we do see that we are looking at the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide H2O2, and this is a common equation that all should be able to remember, that peroxide decomposes to form two parts of water as well as the liberation of oxygen gas. Right, so this is why the oxygen gas actually passages down through the delivery tube, through the water trough system, and is eventually collected at the top of your inverted test tube. Now, is to note that oxygen here is slightly soluble in water, so that would be a good indication to actually let you know that the volume of oxygen collected could usually be less than expected. Alright, but nonetheless, the question over here is not really interested in the yield of oxygen collected, but it's much more so of what potentially could have led to the contamination of the oxygen that was actually collected. Now, like I say, this is largely a very regular question, and it's often due to the fact that the water trough system over here is not covered at all. So by the lack of a covering itself, that would have then mean that there will be possible contamination from the atmosphere. So in the atmosphere itself, the majority of the gases we are aware of is going to be nitrogen gases. So this is why the majority of the contamination actually comes from nitrogen itself. Now, let's just take a look at the rest of the other options to see why they are actually not viable. Now, firstly, for hydrogen itself, we will not be looking at any contamination. For them to actually have contamination, they must be a big proportion of the atmosphere. So hydrogen itself is a no-go because we don't really have a copious amount of hydrogen that's found in the atmosphere, given the fact that hydrogen is considered to be a flammable gas. Hydrogen peroxide, on the other hand, will actually be situated at the tap that's above your conical flask. So there is no way that peroxide can actually travel from the left side of the diagram all the way towards the top of the inverted test tube. Now, manganese 4 oxide assumes the role of a catalyst. So this is quite a common needed answer. Alright, that catalyst itself is considered to be chemically unaltered throughout the entire experiment, whether it's at the start, during the experiment, or at the end of the experiment. They do not actually do any alteration by themselves. Physically, chemically, they're going to be the same. They're just there to provide an alternate pathway to reduce activation energy. So you will not be looking at it contaminating the oxygen that is collected.